Well, look at that. I've gone live. I'm alive. Hallelujah. Howdy, gang. How's it going? Jan Anderson here, voice actor in Salem, Oregon. And I got to tell you, summer has arrived in the Pacific Northwest, at least for a little brief moment. We had, it was 2 or 3 days in the low 90s. Now, I know that most people around the country are just going to go, low 90s? Really? That's all you got? Well, up here, that's hot. When my wife and I still lived in California in Sonoma County, the North San Francisco Bay region, we would my brothers lived in Washington State for much longer than we've lived here. So we would, we'd pay attention to the weather forecast, and on the nightly news they'd say, "Oh, yes, they're having severe weather warnings for the Pacific Northwest because it's about to reach 90 degrees." And we'd be like, meanwhile, we were like facing 100 degrees. And it was like, what a bunch of babies. Well, now I'm a baby. And yeah, it feels hot, man. It feels hot. Thank God for air conditioning. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well, and I am. Please, if you're going to join me in the chat, please say hello, and I'd welcome your questions. So at any time in any of my videos, please ask questions, leave your comments. I'm happy to help where I can. Do I need some more light here? Does that help? Yeah, I guess that kind of helps. There's some things that all the lighting in the world won't help. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, there is something I want to talk to you about, and that is, I made a post about this yesterday, kind of hinting that I was going to talk about this, and that is that I lost a big client yesterday. Bummer. This client, I'm not going to name them just because I don't know. I'm one of those outliers of the voiceover community that I don't talk about the details of my work hardly ever. I don't talk about company names. I don't talk about, well, I do sometimes, but I don't know. I just think it's weird because a lot of times I am working in confidence. Like, even if it's not under a direct NDA, there is an assumption, or I just feel like there's an unwritten NDA, an unspoken NDA. And I just respect other people's privacy to their projects and their work and all that other stuff, even if it means that I don't get online and brag about all the stuff I get to do, most of which is not really brag worthy anyway. It's a lot of stuff that kind of sits under the limelight, as it or out of the limelight, as it were. Anyway, so yes. So I had this client that I was referred to. Gotta love that. I was referred to this client and we started working together. It was before we moved up here to Oregon. So that's probably, well, we've been up here 4 years now. So this is probably at least 4.5. No, it's probably closer to 5 years ago. 5 years ago now. So big company, very well known, enormous corporation. And I was doing a lot of explainer videos for them. And they were paying pretty good amount, pretty good rate. So anyway, had a really good relationship with them. Everybody that I met was always very professional. They were good about answering my questions. Anyway, we just established a really good working relationship, which is what you always want, right? Well, over the last year or maybe year and a half, I've been noticing that the work has been slowing down. I was like, oh, damn it. Here we go. So the other day, I guess it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning, I sent an email to my primary contact there. I make contact with a lot of producers in their department, and I work with a big handful of people there. But I had one main contact, kind of my supervisor. So I sent her an email just saying, "Hey, just checking in. Haven't heard from you in a while. And I've noticed that this year I've only done one project so far. What's going on?" And this particular client, I had some requirements for me to be employed with them. Again, I feel weird about going into details, but I had to do certain things for them that cost me money. So it's getting to be that time of the year for me to re-up on those things. So I was like, hey, if it doesn't look like I'm going to be doing that much money, it doesn't really make much sense for me financially to, take care of these other required business things. So it was a little later on in the afternoon. I sent that email in the morning, fairly early. It was before 9 o'clock, I think. And later on in the day, and I wasn't expecting anything right away, but later on in the day, I heard from another one of the team. My contact was out on leave. So another person that I have worked a lot with got back to me and said, "Yep, sorry, but this program, it looks like it's coming to an end because there just isn't the demand for it. So we won't be re-upping any of the contracts for any of our voiceover folks." It's like, okay. Well, I didn't cry, okay, but but it's a bummer. But she was very nice about it. We had a nice little email back and forth. Just totally respectful. I mean, she just wanted to reiterate to me how much they enjoyed working with me, and that they'd be sure to recommend me for, if the topic ever comes up, they'll sing my praises or whatever. So that's very nice. But yeah, it's always a bummer when you lose a client, especially well, any client is bad, but this was a big juicy one that I earned a lot of money from, and that kind of thing over the years. So what do you do? Well, let's kind of start, but let's kind of backtrack a little bit. If you've been at this voiceover business for some time and you're pretty good and you're doing everything you need to do to keep your business healthy and all that stuff, eventually you will land some of these large juicy clients. And even if you have the best relationship in the world with them, it's going to come to an end at some time. It just will. Things happen. Sometimes, most of the time, it's beyond the control of anybody that you're working with. It comes from higher up. Sometimes they want to change up the voice that is representing their product or service. They want to, just expand their horizons with a new sound. Okay, good enough. That's beyond your control. I can try to sound like a woman if they wanted a female voice, but see, that doesn't work. That's speaking of which, sometimes, unfortunately, they're going to try AI. I lost one decent client to AI. This was a number of years ago, before AI really was in the mindset of the general population. I got in touch with them saying, "Hey, where you been?" And they said, "Well, I'm sorry to say, but the people higher up the food chain have decided to incorporate AI voices." I was like, "Damn it!" So again, there's nothing I can do about it. Um, and sometimes this has happened to me a couple times. You will come to an impasse about your business practices. There have been a couple of times where I have, long-term clients, and I ask for a raise. It's been a couple of years. I want to bump up my rates a little bit. Or even maybe it's been a client that started with me when I was not charging enough, to be honest. And I wanted to bump it up a little bit, not to the rate that I would charge now, but somewhere, just kind of get them going in the right direction. A lot of companies, I'm not going to name names or particular countries. India, But I have some how can I put this? I'm not gonna blame the countries or the cultures or whatever, but our work is not valued monetarily the way it is in the way it is in other countries as much as it is here, at least monetarily, because the standard of living is very different. A lot of times, that's what it comes down to. They If they use somebody local, if they pay them X amount of currency, what I need to survive in my area of the world is 3 to 5 times that amount of currency that they're paying their local guy. So, yeah, so they don't like that. They'll say, "Hey, well, we pay our people this is what the standard is here." Well, I'm sorry, I don't live there. I live here, and the standard is, I guess, a lot higher. So sometimes that's what it is. Um, what else? Or sometimes, and this has happened to me probably more times than anything else, the program ends. Just like I was describing with this company that I lost yesterday, or at least I lost for now. The program has ended. I have worked with, gosh, some other big companies, you know, worldwide name brands that you wish those relationships would last forever, but they don't, and because they just stop doing whatever it is that they hired you to do. It's not that you did anything wrong, that they wanted to go with another sound or it was AI or it was anything else. For whatever reason, they weren't seeing a return on whatever program that they were investing in. Then they decided to stop it. So they cut you loose. And that's kind of what's happening to me here. So, yeah, it's a bummer. So what do you do? Well, you take a breath and you go, "Oh, damn it." And you try to leave on as good a terms as possible. "Hey, I loved working with you. It was so satisfying. It was a real pleasure for whatever reasons." And you leave the door open. "Hey, if you ever need me for anything in the future, please let me know." Even if it's for another voice, you need a recommendation for another style of voice. Hey, I know a lot of people. I'm happy to give out names other than myself. So, be big about it, okay? And then here's the other thing, and this is what it all really comes down to, and that we as actors, as business people, should always be marketing even when things are going good, because even if your recording days are booked up week after week, things are going great, eventually things like this are going to happen, and clients will start to drop off. A- and that brings up another thing. Many of the clients that we'll have are one-offs, or they'll use this every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, so those don't hurt as much. Sometimes you never hear from them again. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, they just never need you for anything ever again. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. That's the way a lot of our business can be. One and done. They're gone. They're in the wind. So what do? You have to keep marketing. And how you choose to do that, well, hopefully you're doing a variety of things. Oh gosh, I can talk at length about this, but the thing is, rarely do good clients just fall into your lap. I mean, it's great, like this one I was talking about, it was a referral. I love referrals. Luckily, I get a couple of them a year, that will stick around and really be great clients. But that doesn't happen. I mean, that's a rarity. Don't count on it. So what you've gotta do is you have to keep marketing. Keep reaching out to production companies and e-learning companies and anybody who you think might be a good target for a cold email. And I'm gonna be getting more into marketing in another video, but or another few videos. But the thing is that you can't just sit on your laurels. You got to keep after it because yeah, eventually all of these clients that you have now are going to be bye-bye. Eventually, who knows, maybe it won't be until you retire from voiceover. Hopefully that's the case. That's what we all hope, right? But probably not. So it's a revolving door. You got, clients come in, they may stay around for a while, and then they leave, or sometimes they just go right back out again. So you got to keep hitting it. You got to keep hitting it, hitting that marketing machine. All right. Um, yeah, you have to most of the time you have to find the good clients and make that first contact. And I have to admit, I hate that. That's my least favorite part of the whole being in business for yourself thing. Marketing. It's not hard. I just I'm selfish. and and because you don't see m- hardly any return on your marketing efforts, certainly rarely do you ever see any immediate return. Maybe, somebody will hang on to your email. But most of the time, if people aren't looking right then and there, they're going to ignore your email. Or, hopefully they'll, if they write back, sometimes they're gracious about it. Sometimes they're not, but you have to do it anyway. You have to get the word out because people are not just going to come looking for you. They're not going to People rarely search for voice actor websites. They'll look for talent agents. They'll look for casting websites or other freelancer sites, before they'll just do random searches and type in voiceover actor, search. And even then, if they do search for that, well, usually it's the talent agents and the other, pay to play sites and things like that that come up. So you have to be so you always have to be the one to be reaching out to potential new clients, is what I'm saying. So that's what I've got to do too. I've got to keep that I've got to keep those clients coming in and keep my business healthy. So, I guess I'll get to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you're doing well. I hope your voiceover business is doing really well. If you want to join me for another live session, every Tuesday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, I'm planning to be here. Please like and subscribe if you would. That would really help out my channel. And other than that, you take care and take it easy. My voice cracked. My Peter Brady. Some of you won't get that reference, and that's okay. Thanks. Bye.